holds a PhD in radiophysics and electronics from the University of Calcutta, with research experience at the Indian Statistical Institute. Her expertise lies in biomedical image processing, AI, and pattern recognition. With extensive academic and research experience, she has held positions at IIIT Allahabad, BUP, and ISI Calcutta, a recipient of prestigious awards like the Frank George Award, UK, and a member of international research societies. Dr. Bhattacharya Ram has significantly contributed to AI-driven medical diagnostic. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much, Vani, for your introduction to me. Uh, since Bani has talked about my expertise in the area of medical image processing, the basic area of biomedical applications, yes, this is one of my first area of research. I'll be talking something related to which will be related to today's women startup ecosystem. But one more area that is also I'm exploring last couple of years, that is e-harvesting. That is how that information technology and information communication technology, that is ICT, that may be successfully used for e-harvesting or digital farming. So I like to explore some of my ideas and some of my research and some of my collaboration with different national level institutes where we are working for the benefit of the farmers, how the technology may be used, and from there, obviously, some startup programs may be planned uh, where different stakeholders who are from the areas of technology, who are the areas from management, who are the areas from the finance, who are the areas from agricultural scientists, so different types of persons and personalities with their expertise. They can collaborate, they can handshake each other for this startup ecosystem. So I'll give some ideas and some of the activities, what is actually going on in recent days, which is related to agriculture, that is mobile agriculture, and how it may be connected to startup ecosystem. So that actually I like to talk about. And if time permits, I'll also give you some idea of e-healthcare, where also how the technology may be used for the mass healthcare system, and where obviously there are a lot of chances of startup programs, especially for the women, because you know the many healthcare issues which are categorically related to the women. Women patients. So in that case, I think that if women can take off different activities, different startups in order to serve the society, that would be a very good for mass healthcare in general for our entire society. So I'll explore that part also in. So here the area actually I'm talking about, that is ICT and big data analytics for empowerment of stakeholders. Because we know the information, because all we are engineers, all we are technical persons. So basically we are concerned about how in the startup problems, in the startup programs, the technological part may be taken care, may be used. So for that particular purpose, what is my concept, that from our level we should understand some basic level of technology which will be really useful for the ecosystem startup. So that means the stakeholders, those who will be associated in the entire process, with different expertise, with different areas, with different topics they are handling, when they are basically interacting each other in order to balance an ecosystem, they must come up with their own areas, with their own expertise, and they are coming from different sources and from their different with their different knowledges also. Okay. So that I told you that in case of case studies, the main two areas which we can in light today, that is advisory and mobile technology, digital harvesting, and second one is e-healthcare. So both areas having a lot of chances, especially for the startup programs. And as I have told you, for e-healthcare, where the women stakeholders can have there enough chances, enough opportunity to start with the startup programs with the balanced ecosystem. So first I'm just explaining or I'm just displaying the digital harvesting and smart agriculture. This is also the area where the ecosystem and the startup ecosystem may have enough opportunities, enough chances to do something real for the society. So as we know that what is a startup ecosystem, as I know that it has already been explained by different speakers in their speech, in their talk, but still for some more clarification, that startup ecosystems are basically formed by the people of the different startups in their various stages and various types of organization. So that we have to understand, because when you are talking about the startup program, in startup program, the persons or the expertise of the people, they are basically coming from different areas. They are coming from different expertise. They are coming from different objectives. When they are handshaking each other, then the proper ecosystem will be formed. Because whenever you are talking about the startup, there are several stages or several steps are there, starting from the very beginning. Say, for example, why actually we are going for the startup? We are trying to develop some product. The product which will be really helpful for the society. So we have to find out who are the end users who will be using that particular product for the benefit, for their own benefit or benefit as a whole for the society, the societal benefit. So for that particular purpose, can you just think very clearly who will be the different components of this startup ecosystem? Because you know here all we are talking about that is obviously related to the technology. So without understanding the technical part of the startup ecosystem, we cannot proceed further. So anywhere, whatever the ecosystem, whatever the startup programs we are planning, everywhere the technology part is very much involved, and that is actually ICT, that is information communication technology, where we need the data that is in the form of information. We need to acquire the data, the collection of data. We have to process the data. We have to circulate the data among the different stakeholders, and finally, after the processing, after development of the technology, that should reach to the society for a particular purpose. But here, different other parts are also there. That is the financial part, because you know if we have to go for such a detailed startup program, then obviously the different types of management management stages are also required. And this management is not only the financial management. In that management part is there. The workers, those will be working in the ecosystem, startup ecosystem. Their management of that workforce is required. So there are different ways, there are different dimensions, there are different coordinations that is required in order to build a very robust startup ecosystem that you must understand. So that's why there was written that organizations are having different categories such as universities, funding organizations. That is whenever we are going for an startup ecosystem, we are basically looking for the universities. We are looking for the technical parts where we are getting the help from the university students, university professors, or university technical persons. So that part is one of the component of the ecosystem. Funding organizations, the persons those will be giving us money just to start that particular process. Start support organization, that is incubators. You know that basically all these things are basically initiated through the incubation. That's why the role of incubators are very, very crucial in this case. Co-working spaces means all the workers that I'm talking about or all the employees, those will be involved in it because stakeholders are there. Each and every stakeholder is having certain workforce. So that part they are coordinating with each other in order to find an entire system which is very much important for the final product. Research organization, obviously, because whenever we are talking about the technological development, we have to coordinate with the research organizations with their objectives, with their output, with their technicality, etc. Service provider organizations like legal financial services, that is also important because you know that in any such cases, always there are some ethical parties, there are some legal parties there, so that you cannot just overdo. You have to take help of the legal part, you have to take help of the legal processes where there is not, which may not create during your process of development of the product, there should not be any ethical problem, which is very much important for the stakeholders, those will be working on healthcare. Because you know, in case of healthcare, there are a lot of ethical parts are there. Say, for example, you are going some hospital, you are collecting data just to develop some of your ideas, some of your technology. But whether these data you are collecting, these data you are getting through legal process, you are getting through any memorandum of understanding, that is through MOU or not. So these things are coming in your startup process. It is not that I am just approaching to a hospital and asking for the data because I have to develop some technology. It is not that. I should have a proper MOU with my organization from where I am coming or which organization I am representing, and to that particular hospital or the medical center who will be providing us with the data. So there are lot many things are there apart from the technical part. That is the part of our final. That is the part of our legal. So financial and the legal. These two parts are also coming in due courses of your entire ecosystem. So that means you may understand that what is the entire or actual gravity of developing such an ecosystem where different aspects we have to take into proper care. We have to take into account with proper care. So that's why that is local government, governmental organizations such as commerce, industry, economic development departments also play an important role in the startup ecosystem. Later on, it is also important. Say, for example, we have coming up with a product. So who will be using that product? How the transfer of technology will be done from my system to the system where I like to give that benefit. So all this legality is very much important part. So there obviously the role of government will come into play. So this part, that is the local government and governmental organization. That means it is not that today something is coming in my mind. I am starting with certain persons. I'm developing something, and obviously I'm coming up with some product. But how I will be giving that product, use of that product to the society, for that also I have to follow certain processes. So where the government and the other processes, the legal processes that I have to follow. Obviously, the financial part is also there. They are taking money from somewhere else. So I have to justify the utilization of the money. I have to show how the money can be utilized in different sectors and in what way. So you can understand that in the entire ecosystem, if we can think for, there are different types of components which we have to take in care with proper care. Otherwise, this ecosystem may not be a proper ecosystem, or there may be some perturbation in the ecosystem. So this ecosystem is also very much important. How or in what way I am coordinating with the different components, with the different sectors, so that I have to understand. Okay. So that is the main concept of startup ecosystem. Okay, that I think everybody will know having the idea for that. Okay. So in this respect, is anything? Okay. So in this respect, so if we are talking about, say, as I told you that if we just think for that developing of ecosystem, startup ecosystem, what part that is I'm discussing, that is the legal. Since I'm a technical person, obviously I'll be talking something which is related to the technology. because technical part is obviously a major part in the ecosystem. So technical persons, coordination with them, taking their advices or taking their coordination is very much important for the entire ecosystem. So here, if we are talking about the goal of smart agriculture, so that is basically sustainable development. Because why actually we need the smart agriculture? Smart agriculture we are looking for in order to provide the benefit or help to the farmers. Because farmers are working in the field, but if we just come up with reach to them with our technology, that will be really helpful for the entire society. Because technology and agriculture, if these two sectors are handshaking each other, then obviously the digital harvesting or the objective of digital farming will be fulfilled. Okay, so in goal of smart agriculture, what are the different areas where the ecosystem or the startup ecosystem may be started? That is weather monitoring, soil testing, determination of water content in soil, use of fertilizer irrigation, prediction of maturity level of any agricultural product, and storage. So these are the all sectors, all areas where any startup ecosystem may be started. Obviously, with all the aspects I'm talking about, that should be taken care. So weather monitoring, for harvesting of a field or just for any particular product, any crop product, the weather monitoring is very, very important because based on that, many decisions are taken by the farmers. So if I am coming up with certain technical views with them, that will be helpful. So that is one of the component, maybe a very important component for a startup program. Then soil testing. Say for example, when the farmer is coming, they are basically going for some nature or the behavior of the soil. Because why the behavior of the soil is important to know? Because based on that, they are predicting what type of crop they can produce them. So soil testing is a part of that. Soil testing also having different types of chemical components which are in the soil. So that also is a part where an ecosystem startup may be started. Then determination of water content in soil. That is also a very important area where you can help the farmers with your knowledge or with your expertise. That is, if we can come up with an exact information to the farmer, the what is the water content in the soil, that will basically give a proper prediction of the irrigation. That means how much irrigation and what will be the amount of water that may be required for a particular harvesting system. Then use of fertilizer, that is also nowadays is a very important thing because use of uh, use of fertilizers at a very optimum level is very much required. It should not be above a certain level that will create the health hazards. So all these areas, I'm just talking about, there may be some more areas where the startup programs may be started along with the information of the agricultural scientists, financial support, and obviously the farmers' prediction and farmers' experience, obviously, that will be required. And finally, another area that is also required, that is prediction of maturity level of any agricultural product. So we know that when in a cultivation field, that farmers are basically picking up any particular agricultural product, looking at its maturity level. They have their experience that I have this amount of time spent, so this product is now mature. But if we have the technology ready with us and if we can predict that thing, then that will be more helpful for the farmer to find out when is the exact time for picking up that particular product. So they may take their preparation accordingly. So these are the way we can really help to the farmers or really help to the society through the startup programs where all these problem areas may be identified. Then storage. Storage is also a very, very important thing. Storage here, not only agricultural product, even the livestock storage is also important. There also the startup program will be started. That is level of humidity, in that case, obviously, you have to associate the scientists, those who are environmental scientists. Okay. So, if I understand that you could just pick up any particular area where you like to start your startup program, then based on that topic and based on the output and based on the users, those who are using your product, you can associate the stakeholders accordingly. So these stakeholders basically will be helping you for development of the technology, for display of the product, and finally to convince the persons those who will be taking your product, considering all the legal aspect, considering all the financial aspect. So you can think that it is a very big, it is not a very small thing that is only one or two persons can be associated in it. That's why it is an ecosystem. So entire process is depending on knowledge, expertise, experience, observations from different sectors, from different levels. And finally, which is very, very important, that is the proper coordination. So, for example, you have 6 stakeholders with you, but if there is not proper coordination, then this balanced ecosystem will not be formed. So, in order to form the balanced ecosystem, these stakeholders, for just to coordinate these stakeholders, you should have also has to be a role of a coordinator. That coordination you can do, that coordination for that particular coordination, you can also engage some other persons, those are very much experienced in it. So this is the total understanding of the subject, from where actually I am starting. What is my goal? How I am getting the product, how I am delivering the product, and how I am getting the persons, those will be interested in my product. So it is the entire ecosystem that actually we are talking about. Okay. Then some of the process I am just talking about, that is automation in harvesting. You know, that is also part of smart agriculture. That is also part of smart village. Since as I am talking about that, if you are only thinking for the technical part, where you know these are the areas, the students or the participants, those who are already having this, some ideas of these areas, they might be knowing that these are the technicality or the technical subjects we have to communicate, we have to accommodate. That is artificial intelligence, image processing, computer vision, machine learning. So these are the technical aspects which we have to use in order to get the technicality or the technical output of my product. So, what is the aspect for that? What is the ambition for that? Or what is the objective for that? Is the computerization and automation in harvesting. Because here, all the ecosystem or the startup program you are planning, that is for the automation of harvesting. Here, since we are talking about the agriculture. So here, in case of your agricultural automation, you have to use this ecosystem. You have to use this entire process just to automate the harvesting process. So that is the important objective or goal for us. So you know the different countries like USA, China, Japan, and Europe, in many places of Europe, they are using this ecosystem harvesting for getting more delivery to the farmers, to the product management. So India is such a variety of agriculture like fruit, vegetable, flower. So if any startup program it is started with just for the fruit, taking the product as fruit, or taking the product as vegetable, or taking the product as flower. So you may understand what are the different types of opportunities are there just to build an ecosystem, just to build a startup ecosystem in your harvesting process, where basically what is your objective? Your objective is the automation. You are delivering the automation to the farmers, you are delivering the automation to the cultivation process. Those who are using your technology through this ecosystem for the entire benefit of their system or of their process. Okay. Now, so main challenges in e-harvesting ecosystem is that the development of automation process that I am talking about, technology is completely interdisciplinary. So this is also very much important that whenever you are looking for such an ecosystem where you we also know that technical part we are using, that is interdisciplinary. Also the stakeholder we are taking into our chain, they are interdisciplinary in that from the aspect of their expertise. So entire process is interdisciplinary. So what I understand in such an ecosystem, the main and very important part of the component is the coordination. The person or the persons who will be coordinating among all these stakeholders, among all these components, that will be having a very big role for the ecosystem process. Okay, so role of e-advisory and mobile technology. Here I am just giving you some idea where the startup program will be started. This technology includes the information communication technology. Say for example, you are developing certain product and that information you want to impart to the farmers through which you will be giving to it. What is the most common device everybody will have? That is a mobile. So through mobile, if you are developing such a startup, that your mobile is a device through which you are connecting a very big area of farmer or the cultivation land where many farmers are working. So in that case, what technology you have to use? You have to use a communication technology or information communication technology, because through mobile you are sharing the information. So this information you are sharing to each and every farmers. So for that case, what are the other things you should have in your entire process? You should have a very prominent and strong networking system. I'm talking about the internet networking system. This networking system will connect the class and cluster of farmers. So this is the technical part. That means if you have to do this thing, then what type of help you should need? You have to take help of the persons or the technical persons, those who are doing very good in communication system, because they are the persons those will be helping you in your startup program to connect the farmers in the way the information you want to depart them, the information you want to share them. So this information, whatever you want to share them, that is basically the information that you are giving through the information communication system or information communication technology or ICT. So this is one of the things that I am talking about. So that is basically the mobile technology, or in other way we are basically talking as a air harvesting. That is mobile harvesting. That means you are just in an office. In your office, you are conducting the entire process. You are having a communication system, and any information related to the monitoring of the weather, related to the soil, related to irrigation, related to fertilizer, whatever I have just discussed, every information you can just share through your ecosystem to the farmers, and which is covering say hundreds of areas, acres of areas, where many farmers are basically benefited through your process or through your technology. So here some of the already some inbuilt or agricultural products which are we are using for the information for decision making in agriculture. You know this is very important. That is KCC, that is Kishan Call Center. So Kishan Call Center is already formed by government of India, and through this Kishan Call Center, the technology that is you can see these are the different information that you can report, that you can give to the farmers, that is related to weather and others whatever I am talking about. So this in this case the main and the potential technology that you have to create, that is the information communication technology. Obviously, the persons, those who will be starting this startup, they may not be the expertise in that field. They may not be the persons from ICT. No problem. Then they have to handshake. They have to bring in their ecosystem the persons, those who will be helping in building up that potential of information communication technology. Because why? Because the information communication technology is the technology which is very very important for sharing your information, whatever you are gathering. So for example, you have your office, In our office, you have several employees are there. They are collecting the information through the different sources. But now, how you will be giving that information on time to the farmer? So for that particular purpose, you should have a potential information communication technology sector. So this may not be, it may happen that in your office the persons are not there, no problem. Because that is also the part of ecosystem that different persons, they are handshaking each other. They may be physically at one place or they may be connected virtually. Okay. So even in an ecosystem, you can connect the other components, the other persons, those who are part of your ecosystem, not physically but virtually also. Okay. So there are a lot of way you can think for the ecosystem and the delivery part. Okay. So that is actually just whatever I have mentioned you, the targets of advisory service. So in the part of ecosystem, what are the advisory services you have to provide? That is the content, that is the delivery mechanism, and reach and interaction. So say for example, you are developing certain product, you are delivering that product through your mechanism, ICT or information communication technology. Here I am talking about reach and interaction. So when this information is reached to that particular person, whether he has received it properly or not, he is giving or sending you a feedback. Okay, that means that feedback also very important for you. Say you are developing something, you are having certain information, that information you are imparting to the person. To the person, who are the person? Those who are the end users. Who are your end users here? Your end users here are the farmers. So when the farmers are getting that information, they should also send some acknowledgement of their information they have received. That means whether that information they are receiving, that information they are getting in proper form, they are getting in time, or they are getting the information in proper time, or they are really benefited of that information. It may go. That means it is not that after creating that technology, after sharing the information, your task is over. No, you have to be also very much you have to think about that what are the feedback I am getting from them, from my end users. So that feedback is also help you to give you more chances to refine your entire system. Get my point? That means you are developing something, you are communicating that information to the end users. It is not that after getting that information or after getting the delivery, your part is over. No. You have to think for, you have to also wait for their acknowledgement and also their feedback. If they are giving you the feedback, okay, we got the information in proper time, we got the information whatever I require, then it is done. And if through the feedback process they are criticizing your delivery, they are criticizing or some of the shortfall of your mechanism, then you have chances further to rectify or to refine your process. So that means you may understand how the entire ecosystem I am thinking. So this ecosystem is not only starting with the technical part, not only starting with the financial support, not only starting with the legal aspect, or not only from the government side, it is also the users. Those will be taking your product. So that will be the main success of the startup. So I can't do anything. I have many plans in my mind. But whatever I am producing, whatever I try to deliver, whether it is exactly hitting the persons, those will be the end user. So that is very, very important. So feedback from them, response from them is also a part of your ecosystem. It may point. It is not that who are the stakeholders. Stakeholders also including your end users and their response and also their acknowledgement, their satisfaction. Both means they are getting some information, they are satisfied with that is helped in the harvesting process. Then you can come to the conclusion that your startup product is successful. So these are the entire process. This is you can think as an entire chain, and in the chain all the components are there which you are connecting in a very proper or in a very proper, in a justified way that I'm talking about. It's a justified. It's not just something coming in my mind, I'm doing something. No. Everything, whatever I'm doing, I have to justify my action. And who will be giving that justification? That justification will be given by your end users. Those will be using that product. Okay. So this is the understanding of the entire ecosystem of your startup process. So this already I talked about. That is the communication, it is aim extension, that is the mobile extension, which we just have talked to, it is encouraged by increased dialogue between the stakeholders, whatever I have just told you, that is there should be always a dialogue in between. Say for example, you should have a call center, that call center will call to that persons that you got that information, whatever you have shared, whether there is any problem in your in getting the information or you are suggesting something. So always there will be a feedback process of your startup program. So that will help what? That will help to define your objective. Also, that will help the more growth of your startup program. It is not that I am done something and I am satisfied. No, because my product is coming to the field. So the persons who are in the field, whether they are fully satisfied with my product, whether they are fully getting the response from my product or from my entire process, that is very very important because end users are there should be taken with much importance. So they are not visible to us because they are not exactly part of the ecosystem, but we have to understand that they are the persons for whom I am delivering, for whom I am producing. Okay, so their satisfaction is very very important in that. So that is that already I talked about. It is sustainability, that is the financial and infrastructure sustainability should be there, and integration of technology. That also must understand the different types of integration of technology. Whatever I'm talking about, there could be some video part, there could be some processing part, there could be some communication part. So these are the technical aspects, and for this technicality, you are taking help for different scientists, different researchers, those who are expert in that field, because it is an entire technicality or entire technical process or system you want to develop for delivery. Okay. That also I told you that is a mobile agriculture or AIM agri is also termed as a mobile agriculture or AIM agri, which is also very much part of our startup ecosystem, where mobile technology covers a broad range that I have already mentioned, and its subcategories are voice, data, network, and connectivity technologies. Already have mentioned you. So these are the different components of the technical part which you have to take care in your entire ecosystem. Then portable wireless device also can be seen is mostly we are using now the wireless devices. I mean, this wireless device is certain innovative services and applications that we have to take care. So that means here, as I'm talking about this mobile agriculture and the AIM which is in short term is called AIM, which is having enough scopes for women startup ecosystem, which you can conduct from a place only. You don't have to go in different places. Even if you have the proper technology, if you have the proper coordination, you can start this type of work where you can able to serve an entire a very big range of the persons in the society. So these are the certain examples of e-advisory for field use. This actually I got through of my research and my collaboration with ICA, that is Indian Council of Agriculture and Research. And they are actually, you have seen that in that process, they have formation and implementation technology, and also in that particular advisory process, they have feedback sections also. So this is the way actually how they are conducting. This is also part of the technology which we can bring in our startup process. Similarly, soil health monitoring, I'm just showing you whatever I have told you already. This type of apps or ecosystems are there in the process. Sometimes they are using the mobile connectivity. Sometimes they are using also the computer and the hard disk also in order to share the information. This is the capture the problem. Also, these are the different problems which we can consider for the startup processes. Because since you are talking about the agriculture, so in agriculture, what are the different aspects of agricultural problems which we can address and on which we can think for developing of ecosystem of agricultural startup ecosystem. Okay, so some just I'm just quickly talking about some topics of decision support system or expert system for digital harvesting. So you know that digital harvesting it is also the part of automation and digitalization in modern day the farming process. So if you just talk about, I'm quickly talking about, you must understand that what are the different technical parts which we should consider in the automated expert system design. Why I'm talking about this automated expert system design? Because this is the entire process of automation where you have to develop each and every block finally to come up to the automation process. That is image. Here I'm taking the data in the form of image. So first you should have the process or the sensors which can go for the image display properties. Then you are attaching this image display property to the computer. The computer is having the main storage where you are capturing the information of the image that you are considering or you are taking on the data and that you are storing in the form of the in your computer. Then there will be some hard copy. In the computer part, you see there is the specialized image processing hardware. So this specialized image processing hardware that you have here, that you should need, and that is also the part of the technicality how this particular block will help you for the expert system design. You know what is expert system? What is an expert system? Expert system is the process through which the machine is taking any decision automatically. That means human being is taking certain decisions. So that decision you are taking on what basis? Say I am looking at some object. I know what object it is. How I am understanding that what is this object, or how I am understanding this object is different from that object. That means some knowledge, some observation, or some recognition process is already there in my brain, in my sensory organs. So that information, through that information, I am taking the decision. Done. So if the same decision I am asking the computer to do, how the computer will work. That means computer also should have those properties just like a human being. That is actually part of AI. Now all you are talking about AI. AI is now everybody knows what is the AI. So what is the role of AI? The role of AI is nothing but a computer assisted decision making process. That means instead of a human being, instead of an intelligent being, a computer is taking a decision. So here how we can correlate this information or how I am correlating this technology with the process of harvesting. So for example, I have given you certain products of any particular, say for example, I am giving you certain agricultural product and I am asking you, can you identify which one is mature and which one is not? You will be able to identify, okay, this one is mature, this one is ripe, this one is green, because you know the properties. If any agricultural product is mature, you know its property. But if you are asking your computer to identify, then how the computer will do that same thing? So computer will do the same thing by identifying the characters or the properties of that particular product and then going through the analyzing process. So this analysis process is the part of AI, whatever we are talking about. So if you are interested, you can note down that AI and machine learning, then artificial intelligence and machine learning. It is not that you may not be person subjects from AI and machine learning, but at least you should know the features of AI and machine learning, and what benefit we can get from AI and machine learning. So if I am a person, say for example, I am a person from finance. I may not have the all technical details of the AI machine learning, but at least I must know if I have the facility of using the AI machine learning, then what benefit I can get out of it. Means if I know the technicality of AI machine learning and its use, not the technicality, only the use. I know the use of AI machine learning, then I know what help I can get through computer. So that is this part, that is specialized image processing hardware that I am talking about. So here, say person those who are interested to design the ecosystem or startup ecosystem, it is not necessary that everybody will be knowing all the subjects. It is not necessary because but they should at least know the input and output of that particular thing. It is not necessary that I'll be knowing the AI ML, but I must know if I use the AI ML, then what benefit I'll be getting. So here what benefit you will be getting, that is if you are using the computerization process using AI and ML, you will automate the entire process. So in your ecosystem, in your startup ecosystem, this knowledge is required. You should know that use of AI ML is required in order to develop an efficient startup ecosystem. Okay, and for that particular purpose, certain technical knowledges, the technical persons, those who will be working with you, they know the things, they will develop that part, but you will also get the benefit of it, but not unknowingly. You should know some basic things of the technicality that I am talking about. So these are the basic building blocks which we have to use for the startup ecosystem, because in all the cases the technical part that we cannot just overlook. The technical part, some technicality, some technical knowledge, each and every startup stakeholder should have. Okay. So for example, one person is not from finance, but he or she must have some idea on that. Otherwise, you cannot understand or you cannot coordinate the entire process. Okay, so in this case, that automated expert system design, that is a part of your startup program. There, these are the blocks that you have to use. What are the blocks? Block I'm talking about the image display, I'm talking about the computer, I'm talking about the mass storage, I'm talking about the specialized image processing hardware. So specialized image processing hardware, what it will do? Anybody can ask you. So for example, some of your employees, those who are employed, they can ask you that what is the role of this? Then you have to talk about that specialized image processing hardware will basically automate any particular decision, say for example, related to the product. So that automation or that decision making part is basically coming through the technical development. What is that part? Say for example, as I told you, as I given you the example, say for example, you are going for soil testing part. You are going for identification of maturity level of a particular product. So how all these things you are basically identified using the specialized processing hardware, that basic things you should know. You may not have to know the entire details of the technical details of all the programming part, everything, but at least you should know what the input and what output I may get out of it. Okay, so this is the way you can think for the technical things. So remember the technical part I have basically mentioned two things. One is related to the designing of the automation process, that is one part, and second one, two technical things I have discussed, or two technical things that you must understand. I am not talking about because you have to start and startup program. So in the startup program, what are the components I have to handle? Because today you say, for example, you are the boss of your startup program. So you have to handle five technical persons. How will you handle it? You should at least know the what technology he is using. Okay? Otherwise, what they will be telling, you have to take it granted. That means some technical knowledge I should have, at least I can cross check the whether whatever delivery, whatever production he is giving, or whatever he is producing, he or she is producing, that is true or not, that is proper or not, that is really helpful for the farmers or not. So that information I should have. So that means two basic, if you note down the two basic technical things one startup person, the person who is starting the startup should have. One is this automation. Automation everywhere, whether it is you're talking about the agriculture, whether you're talking about the e-health, everywhere the automation part you have to handle. Because this automation part is giving you the decision, which is computer generated decision and the decision which you are getting automatically. So this is the one technical aspect. Another technical aspect is the communication. That is the information you are sharing to the mass people, to the common people. So for that particular purpose, you should have the basic knowledge of information communication technology or the communication technology. That means one is the automation, another one is the ICT. So these two are the two building blocks of your entire technical ecosystem. Get my point? Because now we are understanding that in the startup ecosystem there are different sectors are there. The technical part is there, financial part is there, managerial part is there, government part is there, coordination part is there. That I already discussed. So here, if we are talking about the technical coordination or the technical ecosystem, then these two we should understand. Any startup person should understand these two basic technicality. One is the designing of the automation, how the decision making part is coming by the computer in an automated way, and second one is the communication, how we are sharing the information through your communication system. And this is the technical part. And finally, one part which is very, very important, that is the feedback. So in feedback part, that also you have to keep in your startup program. Okay. So this actually we are discussing conceptually because every concept is having certain limitations in field. So when you will be starting with this type of concept in your startup program, you will face many other challenges, and that you have to solve through your process of communication. Okay. So this is the design of classifier and decision support system. These are a little bit technical part. I'm just giving very quickly overview of this. So for example, as I'm talking about the decision support system or expert system, that is a part of the automation. When I'm talking about, then this is basically related to the classification of pattern. Classification of pattern means that also part of your technical decision. Because as I'm telling you that you are considering one particular product, and that product you want to classify it in different categories. So this classification, that is also the pattern. So that pattern how will be identified through the computer. So for that certain mathematical and also certain subcomputing based approaches and other technical supports will be required. So here, those who are having certain technical knowledge, they must be knowing that the classifiers we are designing, which are based on the neural network, which are based on subcomputing and mathematical process or the statistical process. So these I'm just giving you the name so that you can just have an idea that these are the different techniques through which we will be able to design the classifier. So what is classifier? Classifier is again coming to the same discussion that classification is basically you have to do through the process where you are identifying any particular product based on its property, based on its character. Okay. So in this learning process, we can use the supervised learning and unsupervised learning. These are the learning process or the classification of the pattern recognition problems. So these are little bit technical issues, technical things which you have to take care in your support system. Now, challenge for expert system design using conventional techniques. Okay, so I'm not very going to details of it because you know that any agricultural image analysis, these are the different components or the different steps you have to follow. You have to design a learning system. You should have a knowledge interpretation. You should have the segmentation which you want to exactly segment any of the particular region which you want to analyze in the classification. And these are all for the agricultural emergencies. Please remember that all this I am talking about taking the technical aspects of the ecosystem. I am really talking about, I am taking the technical aspects of the ecosystem, which is having two components. One is the automation, another one is the networking. So automation, this part is actually the part of the automation. So if you are talking about the networking, that is coming under the head of or under the topic of the communication system. Okay. These are the certain processes which you can use certain classification by knowledge. So that will be taken care of the technical process. Will be developing this part, and which is also the part of the software development and the automation process. Then there are also some other subcomputing and machine learning based techniques for image analysis, segmentation, classification that also can be used. The technical parts coming into play. So this is also the part of your learning and classification. This is also the part of automation where you are using the unsupervised learning model classification. For interested, you can just note down the name so that in future you can have any, if you want to know more, you can just study on that. Because all these things, all the processes I am talking about, these are the part of the automation. This automation also you are using in your startup program. Then I'm just talking about one. Actually, this is a very good example of not the startup, but an ecosystem, obviously, where you have used automation in harvesting. And this was actually a research project sponsored by DST, Department of Science and Technology, for automation of decision making. Here, in this particular work, basically we have found the maturity level of the cotton. You know, the cotton ball. So cotton ball harvesting is a problem in the field where in most of the cases the farmers are facing different challenges to find out the exact maturity of the cotton ball which may be picked up from the field. So this project was given, and I understand this actually was a very good ecosystem problem, because here we have connected the different institutions, agricultural institutions. We have connected the farmers, so the cultivation persons, different scientists from the agricultural sciences, also government with us with their financial support. So this is also an example of ecosystem. This is not a startup obviously, but this is also a ecosystem, a technical ecosystem where different stakeholders, where they are coming from the organization, from the institutes, from the technical persons, from the managerial persons, from the financial persons, and from the end users who are the farmers or the cultivation persons who will be cultivating the lands. So this is a project we have completed with an objective where we can take an example of the ecosystem. That ecosystem where you can see the different stakeholders are basically connected. Now, this is actually exactly the project, whatever we have done, that is the mission-based sector system for seeking of cotton, where in collaboration, these are the universities we have collaborated, and since only have shown you the institutes, but apart from them, other stakeholders are management persons are there, some end users persons are there, persons those who are in the farmers side, they are also there. So that is that is an example of a complete ecosystem, a technical ecosystem rather, where we have used this ecosystem for the technical development of picking of cotton ball. I'm talking about, that is the finding out the maturity of the cotton ball, because identification of the cotton ball in general is not a very easy task for the farmer. In most of the cases, they are picking up those cotton balls which may not be very much mature in that sense. So this is an example where we have used it, and later on this work actually we have done earlier. Later on this work is extended further, where I have shown, as I have shown you, that IIITM, that is Indian Council of Agricultural Research, they have also joined with us, and where we have demonstrated our lab-based technology, and they have reached with our technology to the end users or to the farmers. Because there are also some technical ecosystems we have used. These also we can use now in the form of a startup. This also can be used in the form of a startup. Okay, so these are the one of the ideas which you may consider for your work or for your plan. So some other problems that also I can mention, that is, as I have told you, that is the cotton ball classification using signature card and bounded descriptor. These are the technical issues which we have considered in the development of the software, because you know that in your startup program there should be a strong software development part will be there. So obviously you have to take help of expertise, those were good or those who are helpful are having enough knowledge in software development. So that part also you have to take into care. So this is some of the images I am showing you how the cotton ball contours are basically extracted. These are the original images. These are the again these are the technical parts. Segmentation that we have done of that particular cotton ball. This is some other way you have to segment the cotton ball. Because this segmentation is required, we are trying to find out the maturity level of the cotton ball in the form of the whether it is mature or whether it is semi-mature or it is not mature. So they ask me that in what way actually you have differentiated, because you have differentiated with the prior knowledge taken from the farmer. So that is the basic knowledge base we have used for the software development. Okay. So that knowledge base is basically acting as a part of our classification recognition process, which has automated the decision as I am talking about. So this is an example of our work, whatever I have told you, that is the automation in registry. Again, this is some pictures you can see. Some other techniques of color related information of the image was used for image segmentation. And this is the estimation and demonstration of maturity level of cotton ball in laboratory. So this is a work which is having enough scope for startup. I'm telling you. If you are interested, you can have some contact with me and you can do something on that. Because this is a work where you can take the technology to the ground level for the benefit of the farmers. So these are some hardware level demonstration which was developed by the students. So now you see that some LEDs are coming, which is showing the green. So green means it is showing the level of maturity is in the full form, and when it is red, that LED is red, that means it is not in the mature form, it is immature form. So this is a lab-based demonstration we have made, but this information you can later on share in the mobile through communication technology to the to the mobile of the farmer, so that so the idea is that if the farmer is having the mobile, and if you can give the software to inbuild the software to the mobile, the farmer will pick up the image of that particular cotton ball, and after that, this decision will be taken to us that whether this cotton ball is mature or not. So this problem may also taken care as a startup program, and here also obviously a proper ecosystem or balanced ecosystem may be created. So some of the hardware part I'm talking about. So there are some other problems. So it is monitoring the healthy growth of the crops. This is another problem that also can be taken in our startup program. This is also some of the identification of the contour, because here we are trying to find out the leaf and the one particular product. whether it is healthy or it is unhealthy, it is having certain infection or not, that is also the another example or another problem which also may be executed or which also may be worked on. So this is also another way I'm talking about here. The taken the some features like texture, shape, and color in order to find out the basic particular leaf, whether the leaf is having any abnormality in it or not. Uh, Hue and saturation based color significant, that is another other features which are based on the color. So here you can see that based on the color, you can identify that the leaf, the health of the leaf. That means the leaf is having any disease or not. So that type of problems you can obviously consider in your startup program, and which will really help for the farmers. These are the certain technical steps which are followed for leaf disease identification. These are also in the color scale, color scales. These are from the mathematical part, how we have calculated the disease and the normal leaves. These are the certain segmentation results taken from the leaf images. And the final goal is to reach the farmers with a compact device to field work and to connect to mobile technology for end users. That's what I am talking to you. So this should be the final goal for your entire process. Okay, thank you. So if you are interested, okay, just a moment, because this is only 1 hour. So this is some of the ideas, because what is the objective of this lecture? This lecture's objective of this lecture is to give you certain ideas so that from there you can pick up some of the problems. So that is the idea. So that I am talking about the this agriculture. But since Dr. Srivastava told me just to talk few about the e-health, so the slides are not ready with me right now. But I can give you the idea, say for example, especially for the women, there are certain health issues are there for women, which are especially for the women only. Okay, so in that case, I may suggest you say breast cancer identification. Yes, ma'am. So that is, I have many work on breast cancer identification. I have technology ready with me. So if anybody is interested, because I have my research groups, they have worked. I'm working in the area of medical image processing long back. So one of my prominent area of research is breast cancer screening. So in breast cancer screening, you know what is the main problem? Problem is that the modality which is used to identify the breast cancer, that is the mammograms, the mammogram, okay. But the mammograms are basically certain type of rays which are used, that is X-rays. And repeated use of X-rays are not recommended by the doctors. That is one problem. Another problem is that uh, in many cases doctors are basically taking the help of biopsy. So biopsy is also certain kind of operation where the tissues or the cells are basically taken out for examination. So if we can think for some automatic technical process or devices which can help the doctors in taking their decision without going much hazardous uh, examination or clinical examination process. So there are enough scopes for the women startup to work on that. Okay, so if you are interested, you can contact with me. You know my mobile, my email address is mb@IIITM.ac.in. Uh, MB, M for Nova, B for MB at the IIITM.ac.in. If you are interested or for any type if you want to, then I have technology with me, I can. So if you have any plan, you can write to me, then I can. This is what I'm talking about. This is what, there are so many other problems out there related to human health. So breast cancer screening that actually I have worked in different levels. In image level, I have worked in cell level also. That is cell image, breast cell image. My students, one student now she has already completed her thesis and now she is abroad in USA for postdoctoral as a postdoctoral fellow. She has worked on say breast cell image. Okay, ma'am? So breast cell image from there, if the identification, if you know what is the main problem or what is the main danger, health issues for women in breast cancer identification, that is if it is not identified in proper time or if it is not identified at the early stage, the conditions may be severe. So startup, there are enough scopes of starting the startup on breast cancer screening, where early detection, prediction, and information to the doctors as well as to the patients may be given through the technical technology. Here also we have to use a complete startup ecosystem, where the doctors, patients, and also the field workers, those will be going to collect the samples. The entire process is a very efficient and quite a helpful ecosystem for the society. So there are scope that we can think also to work on that. There are many other processes are there, but since it is only for the women startup, so that's why I am indicating some of the problems, some of the issues which are really very much exceptional for the women only. So this is the one of the area where you can think of some ecosystem problems or startup problems and can talk together. Thank you very much. So I think some ideas I have given you so that you can work further and if you are interested you can have a discussion with me. You know my mobile number or otherwise you can write to me. I will be answering. My students groups are there. Those who are distributed in different places, but we are working together. There is no problem with it. So even not only the startup, even out of the research interest, if you want to contact, you are always free to contact me. Thank you very much.
Now, sorry, you can have question and answer. If you
So
have
if you are having any questions, can ask me.
if you have any
आजकल देखा जा रहा है तो वेरी अर्ली एज गर्ल्स है उसमें ब्रेस्ट कैंसर के सिम्टम्स वगैरह मतलब बहुत अर्ली एज में उनको ब्रेस्ट कैंसर दिख जा रहा है तो मैम ऐसे मतलब हम जैसे गर्ल्स है उनको कोई प्रॉब्लम हो रही है तो हम कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करें कि हाँ उसके कौन से सिम्टम्स है कि हमें ब्रेस्ट कैंसर हो सकता है एंड हमें डॉक्टर से कंसल्ट करनी चाहिए.
See, usually what the doctors are telling that is there are self-monitoring processes there.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you are feeling that there is some lump is there which is not very usual. Sometimes हम लोग सोचते हैं कि फुंसी हुआ है. That is not that. So even if you are thinking that you have some abnormal pain or some not continuous but sometimes it is coming inside the mass, so this may be an early indication. Or if you sometimes you are just looking that some areas are coming in the bulging shape, which is sometimes it is disappear. And sometimes you may think that it is not disappearing, it is increasing. Then immediately you have to take help of the doctor for the examination, further examination, and if what are the medical processes they will be asking you to follow, that you have to follow. But I am talking about here also the doctors and the startup persons, the startup women. They can work together in order to find out this early detection. Get my point? Because these are the symptoms which you can feel. The imaging signal, there are a lot of technical devices are there through which the symptoms may also be observed. So these devices are the part of your examination. So even any startup person, he or she can work on that and give that information to the doctor for an early diagnosis. But one thing we should keep in our mind that in case of any healthcare related technical aspect, we should have a huge number of data. Just whenever you are looking for a startup program, it is not that only 10, 12 patients are sufficient for it. you have to visit to the doctors. The doctors will be no ecosystem. They'll be giving you that particular data, and that data will be helping you for your identification problem. Any other?
Ma'am, ma'am, we are listening about breast cancer, uterus cancer, stomach cancer, mostly prominent in women. In early days also, women were there, but there were no actual, cancer-related things. But today's world, when we have a little bit pain when we go to doctor, even if we don't have that kind of problem, they suggest a high dose allopathic medicines, which can actually give side effect to us, and that kind of medicines are having drug addiction, और body को अंदर से खोखला करता जा रहा है.
Yeah, see, there are lot of things are there. Say, for example, where awareness was not that much in that level. If we just think of our grandparents, during that time, that awareness was not. Right now, people are very much aware. If they're feeling, because now we're very much conscious about ourselves. Okay. So if there is any problem is coming with my hand, I'm thinking is my hand is there, is something is coming up. So I'm little bit worried about. Earlier what happened? Okay, ठीक है हो जाएगा कुछ नहीं हुआ ऐसे हो जाएगा. So this is something related to our. That is what I'm not telling that is that. That is obviously good. Taking care of yourself is a good part of your wellness being. How we are living yourself properly, and at the same time, environmental effect. Environmental effect is very much critical because you must agree with me that the environmental effect what was earlier days was not that much good nowadays. In any cities we are in a environment where always we are thinking for the pollution. So sometimes through this environmental effect also something is coming in my mind. Okay, probably I am having some very serious something. So I would rush to the doctor. At doctors, sir, it is not that doctors, that is, there is also a problem that which doctor you will select, whether he is a very specialized or not. If he is not very specialized, he is basically giving some medicine based on certain assumption. ये हो सकता है इसके लिए ले लीजिए. So everything is depending upon our mental condition, our environmental condition, and obviously the way we are living. But that you have to find out. That is my personal suggestion for all of you. Everybody should take care of themselves properly day to day. ऐसे नहीं है मैं ठीक है कुछ हुआ तो छोड़ दो अचानक बहुत सीवियर हो गया देन आई एम रश टू द डॉक्टर ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए. Every day how my health is behaving with me, there should be a proper observation from my end. From the morning till late hour when I'm going to sleep. The entire daytime, how my body is behaving and whether it is showing any abnormality, because you are best doctor of yourself because you know your body. You know each and every movements of your body. So you can judge first yourself how I am feeling. If it is really, I am feeling that yes, it is very abnormal. Otherwise, what is happening nowadays? थोड़ा बहुत कुछ हम लोग डॉक्टर के पास जाने लगे. डॉक्टर क्या कर रहे हैं? डॉक्टर को भी ऐसे ही ऐसा assume करके they are giving many medicines and we are because all your disease all you are taking all the medicines, but already these medicines are useful for not we are not identifying. So that's why I am telling this is my personal suggestion that everybody should know their body properly. You are the best doctor of your own body. क्योंकि you know the behavior of your entire physique. कैसा हमारा physique चल रहा है. ठीक है. तो before going to doctor, first you should take care of yourself properly. सिर्फ everyday basis. ऐसा नहीं है कि आज कुछ क्या कर लिया आपको फिजिक को फिर 2 महीने बाद में कर लिया ऐसे नहीं. Day to day basis पे every day we have to take care from the morning when I am taking a glass of water from the morning to end of my day. How my body is working, whether it is showing any abnormality, it is showing any anything which suffering me, which I am getting little bit disturbed, that I'll be able to identify. I have to identify.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to read something more because you, in early age, first breast cancer, they have emit some VOC compound, volatile organic compound. Then they emit on your body. By using the sensor, you just take VOC compound concentration. If it is increased, then there may be chances your body have a fully primarily stage of cancer. I think first stage. So it is better for डिरेक्शन। तो सब स्मेल आपकी स्मेल आती है, ठीक है, आप कुछ भी कर सकते हो, कोई चीजें आपकी सड़ रही है, ठीक है, तो क्या करती है, स्मेल करती है, ठीक है, वो स्मेल आपकी क्या होगी, बाहर निकलेगी, ठीक है, वीएस कंपाउंड जो है आपके बॉडी से बाहर इमिट होंगे, तो उस इमिट को अगर आप डिटेक्ट कर लेते हो, ठीक है, देन ये आपका अर्ली स्टेज आपका डिटेक्शन हो जाएगा, तो ये सेंसर बेस्ड इस पे टेक्नोलॉजी आपका वर्क करती है। So now I would like to invite Shivangi Agarwal, Dr. Shivangi Agarwal, to felicitate Professor Mohammed Bhattacharya ma'am. So now session is over. Lunch will be ready within 10 to 15 minutes. After next session will be start at 12:30.
2:30.
2 to 2.